students, welcome to Interconnecting Physics. Today I will explain you about the applications of Gauss law, in which we will be studying about electric field intensity due to solid and hollow sphere. So without wasting time, let's get started. For regular updates, you can follow me on given links. Now you see we have four cases here. Let us discuss one by one. Number 1, hollow conducting sphere. Hollow conducting sphere. Number 2, solid conducting sphere. Number 3, hollow non-conducting sphere. And number 4, solid non-conducting sphere. Once again, number 1 is hollow conducting, means which is empty from inside. Hollow conducting or metallic sphere. And number 2, solid conducting sphere, which is full-fledged sphere, solid conducting or solid metallic sphere. Number 3, hollow non-conducting or insulating or dielectric sphere, and solid non-conducting sphere. Now, the first three cases, the charge distribution will be same. Means for hollow conducting, for solid conducting, and for hollow non-conducting sphere, the charge given to the sphere always resides on the surface of the sphere, and inside charge will be 0, and inside the sphere charge will be 0, because in hollow conducting or hollow non-conducting it is clear, because the inside it is empty, so there is no space where charge can reside. So it means charge will reside only on the surface of the sphere. And in case of solid conducting, which is full-fledged, which is filled inside, again charge is 0 inside, and charge will remain on the surface of the conducting sphere. So it means in first three cases the charge distribution is same, that is charge always resides on the surface of the sphere, and inside charge is 0. Now we are left with fourth case, that is solid non-conducting sphere, means solid insulating sphere, in which charge spreads over the whole volume of the sphere. In which charge spreads over the whole volume of the sphere. Whether we give negative charge or positive charge, the charge always spreads over the whole volume of the sphere. So now let's start. Now it is the fourth case where we are going to calculate the electric field intensity due to uniformly thin spherical shell, that is hollow sphere. And the first three cases, that is electric field due to wire, infinitely long straight wire, sheet, and two parallel sheets. We have already done in the last video. If you want to watch that video, then link is given in the description box. You can see that video. Now let's come to the fourth case, that is electric field intensity due to uniformly thin spherical shell. Shell means hollow sphere, means which is empty from inside. Okay, it is hollow sphere. It is like a shell, like football. Okay. Now let us consider a sphere, hollow sphere or a shell, okay, whose radius is capital R, and positive charge is given to the sphere which resides on the surface of the sphere. Okay. So now let us consider a positive charge which is uniformly distributed on the surface of the spherical shell of radius R. Now we have to calculate the electric field due to this shell. Okay. So we have three possibilities here. Number 1, the electric field intensity at a point outside the shell. Number 2, electric field intensity at a point on the surface of the shell. And number 3, electric field intensity at a point inside the shell. Okay. Now let us discuss first case, that is electric field intensity at a point outside the shell. So let us consider a point P at a distance small r from the center O of the shell. Okay. So let us draw a Gaussian sphere around this shell. And what is the key point of Gaussian sphere? Gaussian sphere is symmetry. Symmetry is the key point of the Gaussian sphere. Now given symmetry is shell. So automatically the Gaussian surface will also be in the form of spherical shell. Okay. Now you see, this is the example of uniformly charged distribution, means continuous charge distribution. So it's very difficult to calculate the number of charges present over here. Okay. So for that we take the help of sigma, surface charge density, which is Q divided by area. That is, we don't know how much charges are present over here. So we take the help of sigma and we calculate charge per unit area every time, per unit area. Okay. So for this, let us consider a small area element whose area is ds. Okay. And the area vector at this point is perpendicular to the surface and directly outward. Okay. And it is directed out. Okay. And the electric field due to this sphere on this Gaussian surface is always constant. Why? Because at this point the value of this point from center O is small r. At this point the distance is small r. At this point distance is small r. And at this point distance is small r. It means if r is constant, it means electric field at every point of the Gaussian sphere is constant. And if given shell is positively charged, then electric field will be radially outward. Okay. This is very important point, radially outward. If given shell is negatively charged, then electric field will be radially inward. Okay. Now you see from here, E vector and ds vector are in the same direction. So it means theta between E vector and ds vector is 0 degree. Now come to the main heading, that is electric field intensity at a point outside the shell using Gauss theorem. And you know the steps. First we have to apply Gauss theorem. Okay. So apply Gauss theorem, that is closed integration of E dot ds vector equal to Q over epsilon naught. Okay. Since E vector and ds vector are in the same direction, so theta will be 0 here. And cos 0 is 1. So closed integration of E ds equal to Q over epsilon naught. Now E can be taken out from the integration because the value of electric field on the Gaussian surface is constant. So it can be taken out from the integration. Now closed integration of ds. Now the Gauss theorem we have applied over the Gaussian surface. So now this time the surface area will be the surface area of the Gaussian sphere. And what is the radius of Gaussian sphere? It is small r. So it means what will be the surface area of the Gaussian sphere? 4 pi r square. Okay. Now put the value here and get the result, that is E equal to 1 over 4 pi r square Q over epsilon naught, or E equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over r square. And if we write in the vector form, then we write it as E vector equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over r square and cap. And cap will be perpendicular to the surface and directed outward. Okay. Now you see, we have already derived one expression, that is electric field due to point charge. Electric field due to point charge. And the result was E equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over r square. If you want to see this video, then in description box you can watch that video. Okay. Now this relation, electric field due to point charge, is same as that of the relation calculated here. So it means if we take point outside the spherical shell, then this shell will behave as point charge. And the result will be E equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over r square. Okay. You got this point? Then good. Now this relation can be calculated in another way. You see in the exam, what you are asked for. If you are asked for electric field in the form of charge, then this is okay relation. But if you are asked for calculation of electric field due to hollow sphere at a point outside in term of surface charge density, then we will follow these steps. Now, you know sigma is Q over S, charge divided by area. So it means Q equal to sigma into S. And what is sigma? Sigma is the surface charge density of the shell. And what is the radius of the shell? It is R. So it means if S is the area of the shell, then it will be 4 pi R square. Okay. Now you take this relation. So E into 4 pi R square equal to, put the value of Q, that is sigma 4 pi R square divided by epsilon naught. 4 pi cancels out with 4 pi. Okay. Now the result will be E equal to sigma R square divided by epsilon naught R square. So students, always note what you are asked for in the exam. If you are asked for electric field in the terms of charge, then this is the relation. And if you are asked for electric field in terms of surface charge density, then this is the relation. Again, these two relations are very important according to competition point of view. Okay. Now, you see whether this relation or this relation. Result is E is inversely proportional to R square. Okay. Now, number 2, electric field intensity at a point on the surface of the shell. Okay, means R is equal to R. Earlier in this case, R was greater than capital R because point P was outside the spherical shell. Now here R is equal to R. It means we put small r equal to capital R in equation number 2. This is the equation number 2. Okay, we put small r with capital R and we get the result. And in terms of surface charge density, what we do, you see here, it is sigma R square divided by epsilon naught R square. So put small r equal to capital R. Then this cancels out with this and the result is sigma over epsilon naught. Means on the surface of the sphere, electric field is sigma over epsilon naught or 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over R square, where R is the radius of the shell. Okay. And this is the maximum value. It means the electric field has maximum value on the surface of the shell. Okay. Now third case, electric field intensity at a point inside the surface of the shell. So we take a point P at a distance small r from the O such that R is less than capital R. Okay. Now you see, in case of hollow sphere, or we call this as shell, the charge only resides on the surface of the shell. Okay. There is no charge inside the sphere. Inside the sphere charge is 0. So it means if charge is 0 inside the shell, then electric field inside the shell will be 0. Okay. Now you see the variation of electric field intensity with the distance r from the center of sphere. So electric field is along y-axis, distance is along x-axis, and we take a shell whose radius is capital R. You see, this is the origin. For the point inside the shell, we know electric field is 0. So we draw this line from 0 to R as this is red line. Okay. And if point is on the surface of the sphere, then you know electric field is maximum. And this is given by this line that is parallel to y-axis. And here electric field is maximum. Now outside the sphere, you know electric field is inversely proportional to R square. It means as we move away from the shell, the electric field goes on decreasing. But don't touch this graph with the x-axis. Okay. So you see the graph is here electric field 0 inside the sphere. Okay. And on the surface of the sphere it is maximum. And as we move away from the shell, electric field go on decreasing. Okay, so this was the electric field due to uniformly thin spherical shell. Now please note that for hollow conducting sphere, for solid conducting sphere, and for hollow non-conducting sphere, the procedure is same for all these situations. Means electric field will be inside the sphere always 0, and electric field on the surface of the sphere will be like this, and electric field at a point outside the sphere will be inversely proportional to r square. So mean this derivation is applicable to all these three cases. Now we are left with fourth case, that is solid non-conducting sphere. Okay, so you see here the fifth case is electric field intensity due to uniformly charged non-conducting solid sphere. Okay, so non-conducting means insulating, means dielectric. So here the charge will spread the whole surface of the sphere. Okay, again let us consider a sphere or radius is r and on which charge q is uniformly distributed with charge positive charge. Okay, let rho is the volume charge density. Why we take rho here? Because the charge is distributed over whole surface of the sphere, over whole volume of the sphere. So we took rho as volume charge density, which is q divided by v. Q is the charge on the solid sphere and V is the volume of the solid sphere of radius r. Okay, now come to the first part, that is electric field at a point outside the solid sphere. So come on, be fast now because the steps are same. Firstly we have to apply the Gauss theorem and then we have to calculate the electric field intensity. So let us consider a point P at a distance r from the center of the sphere where we wish to calculate the electric field due to the solid sphere. Let us draw a Gaussian sphere of radius r and center O. Let us consider a small element whose area is ds and whose area vector is radially outward and perpendicular to the surface, and electric field is also radially outward. The angle between E vector and ds vector is 0 degree. And what is Gaussian sphere here? Gaussian sphere is a sphere where the value of electric field is same at every point. So let us apply Gauss theorem, which is closed integration of E dot ds equal to q over epsilon naught. So open up this with cos theta, since theta is 0 degree, so cos 0 is 1, and E can be taken out from the integration because electric field value is same on the Gaussian sphere due to symmetry. So what is the value of closed integration of ds? 4 pi r square, because r is the radius of the Gaussian sphere, and here we apply Gauss theorem on the Gaussian sphere. So now cross multiply and we get the result E equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q over r square. Again it is same as that of three previous cases, that is electric field due to a point charge. Means if we consider point P outside the sphere, then this sphere will behave as point charge, and the result is same as that of electric field due to point charge, that is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q over r square. Okay, so in terms of rho, now take this relation and we know that rho equal to q over v. So what will be q? Q equal to rho into v. Okay, so what is the v? V is the volume of the given sphere, which is 4 pi 3 pi r cube, capital R cube. Okay, now substitute the value of ds, that is 4 pi r square. 4 pi cancels out with 4 pi and the result is E equal to rho r cube divided by 3 epsilon naught r squared. Again from this relation, whether this relation, the result is inversely proportional to r square. Now on the surface of the solid sphere, put small r equal to r and we get the result E equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q over r square. Now the most important case is third case, which is totally different from the all three previous cases which we have discussed earlier. Now you see here, because this time the charge is distributed all over the volume of the sphere. So let us consider a point P inside the sphere at a distance small r from the center of the sphere. So let us consider a small element whose area is ds and area vector is perpendicular and outward, and electric field is also radially outward. Okay. Now apply Gauss theorem. So closed integration of E dot ds vector equal to q prime. Why q prime? Because charge q is distributed whole surface of the sphere. Okay. Now this sphere, this Gaussian sphere whose radius is r. Let us consider this Gaussian sphere has taken q prime charge from this q. Let us say q prime charge is enclosed by this Gaussian sphere out of total charge, that is total q. Okay, so it is q prime divided by epsilon naught. Now theta is 0 degree, so cos 0 is 1. And what is the value of q prime here? You know what is rho? It is charge divided by volume. Okay, so what will be charge? Rho into volume of the Gaussian sphere. Rho into, because we are taking q prime. So q prime is enclosed in this sphere, Gaussian sphere. So it means we take here volume of the Gaussian sphere. And what is rho? Rho is this volume charge density of the whole sphere, given sphere whose radius is capital R. So it will be q equal to, rho equal to q total charge divided by volume of the given sphere, that is 4 by 3 pi capital R cube, multiplied by volume of the Gaussian sphere, that is 4 by 3 pi small r cube. Now 4 by 3 cancels out with 4 pi, 4 by 3 pi cancels out with pi. So result is q small r cube divided by capital R cube. So put this value here. Now E can be taken out from the integration because the electric field value on the surface of the Gaussian sphere is always constants, can be taken outside. And what is this ds? ds is the surface area of the Gaussian sphere, which is 4 pi r square. So put this value and get the result. And the result is, you see here 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught qr divided by capital R cube, because r square cancels out with here r square and we are left with only 1r. So you see, this is somewhat different relation in which E is directly proportional to R, in which E is directly proportional to R. Now if you see the graph between electric field intensity and the distance of the point P from the center of the sphere, let us consider a non-conducting sphere whose radius is R. Now inside the sphere up to radius, you see E is directly proportional to R, means as R increases, electric field value increases. So graph is straight line passing through the origin, and maximum value is on the surface of the sphere. And as we move out from the sphere, means as point P goes away from the sphere, then electric field value will decrease according to square of the distance. But don't touch this graph with the x-axis. Okay, so these were all about the electric field intensity due to hollow sphere and solid non-conducting sphere. And you see the first three cases, that is hollow conducting sphere, solid conducting sphere, hollow non-conducting sphere, the electric field value for all these three cases is same. And for solid non-conducting, the electric field value inside is directly proportional to R. Okay, now let us do some exercises. So number 1, let us say a point charge causes an electric flux minus 1.0 into 10 to the power 3 Newton meter square per coulomb to pass through a spherical Gaussian surface of 10 centimeter radius centered on the charge. Okay, so what is given? Students, I have already told you some steps should be followed while solving the numericals. Number 1, always write down the given quantities. Okay. Then number 2, conceptualize the formula or theory or any principle behind that statement. Number 3, write all the quantities in the same system of units. Okay, then get the result. Okay. Now you see here we are given with flux, which is minus 1.0 into 10 raised to power 3 Newton meter square per coulomb. And we are given with radius, which is 10 centimeter. So convert this into meter because this is given in SI. So this should be converted into SI, which is 0.1 meter. Now it is talking about spherical Gaussian surface of radius. So it means it is the case of electric field due to spheres. Okay. Now, number one, if the radius of the Gaussian surface were doubled, how much flux would pass through the surface? Automatically, you know what is Gauss theorem? Gauss theorem is electric flux through a closed surface is always equal to net charge divided by epsilon naught. So means only depends upon flux only depends upon charge enclosed by the surface. It does not depend upon the size or shape of the surface. So if radius of the Gaussian surface will be doubled, how much the electric flux? Electric flux will be same. It will not change. Okay, because it only depends upon the charge enclosed by the surface, but it does not depend upon the size of the surface. Now number two, what is the value of the point charge? Now you are given with flux. Okay, and you know what is flux? It is q over epsilon naught. Okay, we are given with flux, we know the value of epsilon naught, we can calculate q. So q equal to phi into epsilon naught. What is the value of phi here given? What is the value of epsilon naught, which is 8.85 into 10 raised to power minus 12 Newton inverse coulomb square meter inverse square. Now multiply these 10 raised to the powers first and multiply these values again, and we get the result, which is q equal to minus 8.85 nanocoulomb, because 10 raised to power minus 9 coulomb is 1 nanocoulomb. Okay. Now the second, a uniformly charged conducting sphere of radius 10 centimeter has unknown charge. If the electric field 20 centimeter from the center of the sphere is 1.5 into 10 raised to power 3 Newton per coulomb and points radially inward. Okay, note this point, radially inward. So what is the net charge on the sphere? First of all, write the given terms. Given terms is radius of the sphere is 10 centimeter, electric field is 1.5 into 10 raised to power 3 Newton per coulomb, and at a point outside the sphere, you see here outside, and the distance is 20 centimeter. Okay, means R is 20 centimeter and capital R is 10 centimeter. Okay, and radially inward, it means this time charge is negative. Okay, now we have to calculate the net charge on the sphere. You know what is the formula for electric field here? 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q over r square. Okay, now you see we are given with electric field, we are given with r, and we know the value of 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. So you see here, if we cross multiply this relation, the value of charge is q equal to E into 4 pi epsilon naught into r square. What is the value of E right here? What is the value of 4 pi epsilon naught? You know 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 raised to power 9. So it means 4 pi epsilon naught will be 1 over 9 into 10 raised to power 9. And what is the value of r, which is 20 centimeter, and in SI unit is 0.2 meter. So write down the value and get the result 6.67 nanocoulomb. Now you see here, it is given that electric field is radially inward. It means charge will be negative, that is minus 6.67 nanocoulomb. Okay. Now again, a uniformly charged conducting sphere of 2.4 meter diameter. Okay, diameter and conducting sphere. Now if diameter is 2.4 meter, then what will be the radius? It will be diameter divided by 2, which is 1.2 meter. Okay, and what is the surface charge density? That is sigma, which is 80.0 microcoulomb per meter square. So 80 into 10 raised to power minus 6 coulomb. Okay, 1 microcoulomb is 10 raised to power minus 6 coulomb. So find the charge on the sphere. Okay, very easy, because sigma is q divided by s. So what will be q? It is sigma into s. Sigma we are given with, and what is the formula for surface area of the sphere? That is 4 pi r square. Okay, so sigma, write down the value of sigma here. 4 is 4, pi is 3.14, and r is 1.2. So it is in square, so 1.2 into 1.2, and the result is 1.45 into 10 raised to power minus 3 coulomb. Now what will be the total electric flux leaving the surface? Total electric flux is phi equal to q over epsilon naught. Epsilon naught, we know the value, and q we have calculated here. So substitute the value and get the result, which is 1.63 into 10 raised to power 8 Newton meter square Coulomb inverse. You know these units are because phi is ES, electric field into area. What is electric field? Force divided by charge and area. So force is Newton, charge is Coulomb, and area is measured in meter square. That's why Newton meter square Coulomb inverse. Now next is a spherical conductor of radius 10 centimeter has a charge 2 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Coulomb. So write down the given quantity. Charge on the sphere is this. The radius of the sphere 10 centimeter, that is 0.1 meter. Now what is the electric field inside the sphere? Okay, spherical conducting. You see, spherical conducting sphere is given. Spherical conducting, in conducting sphere, the charge only resides on the surface of the sphere, whether positive, whether negative. So it means no charge is enclosed by this sphere. So it means electric field inside will be 0. Okay, this is clear. Now number B, at the surface of the sphere, at the surface of the sphere value is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q over r square, where r is the radius of the sphere. Okay, 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, 9 into 10 raised to power 9 q we are given with, and r radius which is 10 centimeter, that is 0.1 meter, and the result is this. At a point 20 centimeter, r is given at a point outside 20 centimeter. Okay, so for 20 centimeter in SI it is 0.2 meter. Substitute the value and get the result at a point outside the sphere. Okay, now next is an early model for an atom considered to have positive charge point nucleus of the charge Ze. Okay, means at center nucleus charge is plus Ze surrounded by uniform density of negative charge. Okay, means around this nucleus the charge is negative, and the atom as whole is neutral. Okay, atom is neutral means no charge is on the surface, whole charge is inside, plus Ze and minus Ze is distributed over here. So for this model, what is the electric field at a distance r? Now there will be two possibilities, at a point inside the sphere, at a point outside the sphere. So let us discuss. Now charge on the nucleus is plus Ze, since given atom is neutral. So it means charge outside the nucleus is minus Ze. Outside means here, outside, within the atom. Okay. So net charge density is given by rho, which is Q over V. Q is negative charge because negative charge has been spread over whole of the surface of the atom, and the V is the volume of the given sphere over radius capital R. Now, so rho will be charge minus Ze, and the volume of the sphere 4 by 3 pi capital R Q. Now let us say point R is outside the atom, that is at point A where R is greater than capital R. Now you see the total charge enclosed by this Gaussian sphere of radius R will be plus Ze and minus Ze because atom is neutral. So total charge is 0. So it means charge enclosed by this Gaussian sphere is 0. So electric field inside will be 0. Okay. Now second case, when we consider point P inside the atom, that is at a distance r from the nucleus. Now you see, what is the net charge enclosed by the Gaussian sphere here? Let is Q prime, which is equal to net charge by nucleus, that is plus Ze, plus net charge enclosed by this Gaussian sphere. Which type of charge is enclosed by Gaussian sphere? Negative charge, because outside the nucleus negative charge has been distributed here. So plus negative charge within the Gaussian sphere of radius r. So rho is charge divided by volume. Okay, so charge will be rho into volume. Okay, so plus rho into volume of the Gaussian sphere. And what is rho? It is the charge divided by volume. Charge is minus Ze, and whole of the volume of the given atom is 4 by 3 pi capital RQ. And what is rho? Rho is the volume charge density of the complete atom. Okay. Now volume of the Gaussian sphere 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 by 3 cancels out with 4 by 3, pi cancels out with pi. So result is minus ZE r cube over capital R cube. Take common ZE, the result is ZE1 minus r cube divided by capital R cube. Now apply Gauss theorem, E dot ds closed integration q prime over epsilon naught. Since E and ds are parallel, so cos 0 is 1, and substitute the value of q prime from here. Now E can be taken outside because at the Gaussian sphere the value of E is constant always. And what is the surface area of the Gaussian sphere? 4 pi small r square, and put the value here and get the result. Okay. Now next is S1 and S2 are the two concentric spheres. Concentric sphere means their center is common, their center is same. Okay. Now enclosed charge Q, S1 encloses charge Q and S2 encloses charge 2Q. So what is the ratio of electric flux through S1 and S2? Now what is the electric flux through S1? It is phi1, which is Q over epsilon naught. What is the electric flux of S2? Now you see here, S2 sphere encloses total charge, that is 2Q plus Q, which is 3Q divided by epsilon naught, and phi1 by phi2 will be 1 by 3 because Q cancels out with Q, epsilon naught cancels out with epsilon, 1 by 3, that is phi2 equal to 3 phi 1. What is the second question? How will the electric flux through the sphere S1 change if the medium of dielectric constant K is introduced in the space inside S1 in the place of here? Because in the place of this, let us say we introduce dielectric having constant K. So in free space, the Gauss theorem is phi equal to Q over epsilon naught. But in medium, it is charge divided by epsilon. Okay. So here phi 1 will be Q over epsilon, and what is epsilon? Epsilon naught into K. Okay. Now what is the third question? How will the electric flux through sphere S1 change if a medium of dielectric constant K is introduced in the space inside S2? If medium of dielectric constant K is introduced here instead of here, then what will be the electric flux of S1? Electric flux of S1 will not change. Okay. So it will always phi 1 equal to Q over epsilon naught. So this was all about today's video, and this video was the last video of the first chapter, that is electric charges and fields. Now in next video I will explain you about how to conceptualize and how to summarize the first chapter of electrostatics in just one video, in just one lecture. So in next video you will get the summary of this whole chapter, that is electric charges and fields. So thank you very much. If you want PDF notes, you can ask me in comment section, or you can follow me on my Telegram channel. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So stay happy, stay healthy.